And I got the notice saying that I'm live, so hello and welcome to everybody. Today, October 18th, we'll be doing market analysis. Markets have been, well, they've been moving back and forth a lot this week. They haven't really had any decision being made, whether they're going to be bearish or bullish. However, I am bullish on the assets, a lot of the assets that we'll be talking about today. We're going to start off with the precious metals. Silver, nice big movement already here today. Let's get my screen. Pichu. All right, so silver is, silver's got a nice start off to the day here, continuing its climb from the low that we had on October, what is this?
We
October
have just
8th.
you, Paul.
Oh, good idea.
There, now I can see it.
There we are. And I also have, how much room do I have to go here? Oh yeah, it's not too bad. I'll be good. Okay, so yeah, we've got this nice rally that happened here. It's going to be continuing. I believe it's going to be continuing on and heading towards my target of $33, $34. Yeah, 33.80 is where this one's marked. And this bounce here is just, it's healthy, super healthy. In fact, knowing that this is kind of a range of consolidation, I might just move this down here so that we can see where it had resistance at this point and then provided support. What's that?
One more thing, Paul. I need you to move away a little bit. I want to see the numbers.
Oh, yeah.
I know.
There we go.
You know me. I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah. No, it's all good. I also need to have, I need it, absolutely. Need to have another $2,700 worth of monitor space as well. So that, no, I'm just kidding. So yeah, after, you can see this zone here has provided resistance in the past, now providing support. And this low being so much higher than this low here is clear indication that we are definitely in a bullish trend. And we look forward to seeing this come to fruition here. I believe that we'll see something along the lines of this push, getting up, hitting that point, that target, and then retesting where we are right now before going up. This is a very common pattern that we see whenever we're on a run. And so I believe that that's what's going to be happening here, probably within the next couple of weeks. What we're headed into, we're now into the new moon, and so we can probably see some acceleration to this movement. But always make sure that you set a stop loss. Know that you can't, don't be over leveraging yourself on this stuff, especially the gold and silver. Gold forming new highs, following the little trade plan that I squiggled on there a couple days ago. I probably did that on the 4-hour chart or something. Yeah, I did this on the 4-hour chart. So we can see that it's following that fairly nicely. With the new high, that is actually really nice. It's the wrong one. Let's get this out here and name it all-time high. So that all-time high is, what is that now? It's 27.17. The target here is 27.50, and I believe that, we're definitely on the way. Because of how much higher we are than this high here, we can expect a retracement and a retest of this zone here, of this support line, probably around that 26.80 level. So don't be too scared if it comes back against you. It's just be retesting that. Level before it extends to the target. Again, my thinking is the 27.50 level. S&P 500. Oh yeah, that brand new high yesterday. That was all it was going to be, apparently. but it's still inching its way forward. Again, for those of you who watch me on the regular, you know full well that I am not bullish on the S&P 500, despite what the chart may say, only because I recognize the manipulation that occurs within the institutional banking to such a degree that there's no way that it could be worth this, simply because they are printing their way into oblivion. And so what we see here is not a reflection of the value of the market, but rather a reflection of the devaluation of the dollar. And in order to deceive people into thinking that, look at how good the markets are, they just keep going up. Yeah, this is gonna end in disaster. I'm of the firm belief that we're going to see this drop down to prior to 2020 levels, which is a drop of 63, 62, almost 63%. It's not going to happen all at once, but before this great reset is done, that's the level of collapse that I believe they're going to bring this to, in order to get people to scream and cry and whine and complain and beg their governments to do something about it. Same thing with the Dow Jones, except today it actually did form a new high, so we got to adjust that at 43,303.90. Oh, it's unbelievable. Unbelievable. You can see here that it did make a retracement and retest this zone here. Because of how, if we look at this over the long term, these movements are going, I believe these movements are going to start petering out. That we're going to see it kind of, reach a curve where the curve gets to be more and more gradual until finally it's just like, bang, drops down. Now again, that's just because that's how it's usually happened in the past. It just inches its way up, and it gets to be less and less of a curve, and then drops out. I think that that's the kind of energy that we're going to feel as these markets collapse. But if you wanted to still go long on this, make a little bit more money, go for it. Just be ready to turn that trade around, and take advantage of the drop. The drops, I believe, are going to be happening incrementally. This one here, the 38,400, is going to be a pretty significant support. So we might see something bounce off of that. But otherwise, this is all just fraud. We're just seeing the chart report the fraud. That's how I look at this. All right. Japanese markets still not really able to get above. It had a nice strong test of this consolidation zone, this pivot zone, but we can see that it's still not really being decisive about its bullish movements here. And it could still climb up to this high here, but I think that it would have already tried to. I think it would have tried a little bit harder if it was to succeed. This area here is providing support right now, so that does make me think that it could go back up to this all-time high before the end. But I've also, folks, trust me, I am not the one to ask when is the market going to crash, because it was in 2011 is when I first thought that we were at the verge of apocalypse. So what happened in 2020 was 9 years behind my prediction. So they could keep this thing going for a long time. But yeah, it was 2011 when all the math came and overloaded my brain, and I was like, oh, this thing is going to crash any day now. So now we're on to cryptos, because there's a lot more wealth transfer happening over here than there's wealth transfer happening out there on the fiat side as well, but it's being stolen from the people who are still in the banking system. So let's talk about the things that are actually going to increase in value as time goes on. And these are the digital assets. First one here is NPC, which is the non-playable coin. This is a meme built around a community of people that are really taking the advantage of making fun of all the people that are the non-playable characters in this game of life, where they are just regurgitating the program that they are supposed to be regurgitating at the time you meet them. And this coin here is this community rather is really when you're looking at anything, any aspect, especially into as we go into the future with this renaissance, you have to recognize that the two most important aspects of your business is going to be community and communication. And when you have an engaging community in clear communication, you can have something that doesn't look good at all. You can have something that maybe even has bad numbers and it'll do very well. And you can have something that has great numbers and an incredible executive team, and the founder is all about the people and all the rest. You can have the very best looking opportunity ever, but if they do not have a good, strong, engaged community with clear communication, I'm not interested. NPC coin and the community that's behind that is, they're great. They're awesome. With the new high that just got formed on October 12th at the 3.9 cent level, just shy of 4 cents. It retraced back down beautifully into this pivot zone and accumulating more volume. So as this accumulates, we're going to see this bounce back and make a new high. My target on this one right now is just above 5 cents because I believe that that's going to be kind of a psychological level. And at that point, I'll be evaluating. I probably will take out some of my profits that I've been holding on to since July 3rd. And then I will be coming back in when there's another retracement. As long as this community stays engaged and they've got a good, as long as they stay engaged and they've got good, clear communication, I'm more than happy to continue with this asset for a long time. Sundog, another meme. This one's on the Tron network. This one here is a major drawdown since I got started with it. I got excited up in this time here, and full disclosure, that happens sometimes. You get emotional and you're like, ooh, that's exciting. I'm going to get some of that. I got a little bit early, but that's okay because I added to my position later on. And it's right here, I think it is. Where is it? Yeah. No. What am I looking at? What is this here? What's going on? Why is this colored in? Where's my other... Maybe I don't have a second position marked on here, but I know I added to my bags here when it was down at this low price because, I mean, where I bought it, it's drawn down 40% from that point. However, with the second position, I know what's in here. So there it is. There's my second position. Sat that one down at, on the 12th of October, so 7 days ago. And since that time, it's not really gone up. But it is definitely a nice position because this growth that I'll be receiving before it reaches back to the point where I bought is another 57%. So this growth here is going to compensate me for the cost of lost opportunity that I experienced with this drawdown. And that's my trade plan, basically in a nutshell, is dips are for buying. Bonk, another meme. This one's on the Solana network. And NPC is on the Ethereum network. So Bonk is on Solana, and it has been consolidating for quite some time here. Price becoming more and more narrow, but this asset here is extremely underpriced. And this is the community. This is the primary meme coin that is of the community of people who are developing within Doge. And I believe that over the next little while, especially since Doge continues to be it continues to be a major component, even an ecosystem within the crypto sphere, and how it continues to get mentioned. Even Elon Musk was, saying that Doge, DOGE, stands for Department of Government Efficiency, because now that's what Trump is saying that he's going to get hired to help with in the federal government, which is why Elon is now campaigning as a politician. Not officially, but you can tell it's just a political campaign, the campaign of a technocrat, and his mentioning of these types of ecosystems just basically keeps it in the game, and it's funny to watch as people flock towards this. So I believe that over the next little while we'll see this consolidate a little bit more before it has a breakout, coming back to the all-time high. I didn't mark my trade. I got to go back and figure out when that was. I think it was Wednesday that I did that. And my objective is to bring it back up to this, to ride this back to its all-time high, which would be 100% or so, double my money, and then evaluate from there. With Woo, this is the social platform that is coming online and going into utility here in the coming week. In fact, they just announced that when they launch, there's going to be some major incentives to get your membership for a lot cheaper, maybe even 50% off. Well, that's going to drive those sales here right before Christmas. And then through the Christmas season, people are going to be chatting about it and bringing on their referrals at that full price. And so I do expect this price action to reflect a growth in this company that will take it to its all-time high. Now, the all-time high from this location, or this price right here where we're at 18 cents, going up to 88 cents, that's going to bring a 389% increase. So if you want to triple your money, this one here is likely to do that before the end of the year. Be mindful though that you got to pay attention to this stuff. You can't just put it in there and then weeks later be like, oh, it went down and nobody told me. Paul's an idiot. And that's when I'll say, no, you be yourself responsible. I'm looking at these every day. I'm looking at them usually again in the afternoons just to keep tabs on things. This is work. What do you think? You're going to triple your money with no work? Get over yourself. Anyways, ARC. This one is a private AI project that's dipping down deeply into this consolidation zone. You can see that it's really testing. The bears are really testing this one out. And if these bears end up coming back and testing and touching this trend line, we might actually be still in that bearish trend. With this little breakout, it can be encouraging, and I am encouraged by it because these low prices keep getting higher. So we have a nice big dip, big retracement here. This is just consolidation and accumulation. So we're going to see this. We're going to see this come to fruition here within the next week again. A lot of things are happening, and I think we're going to be witnessing it all unfold here within the next couple of weeks. So this, I've got two positions right now. First one is down about 31%, but the second position here I took there at this nice low. Like I timed this one really, really well. And again, it's just because it's at the lower end of this range, and now we're just waiting for it to finish this test of this, 2 cent level or so. Yeah, it's about 2 cents. And then onwards back to this resistance, I believe will be the next kind of marker that we'll have to hit, and then it'll be onwards from there. But this is a great chart. I mean, this all-time high, having this trend line be broken out so well with a new high here, with the lows getting higher, I'm very optimistic that this one's on its way. Tau, good old bit tensor. This is the yeah, this is providing a lot of infrastructure for AI, for big tech. For big tech, I am not invested in this right now, and the only reason is because I'm watching it to see to get a feel for what the markets are doing. I don't always trade the things that I watch. Sometimes I just watch because it's good for me to get a feel for what's happening in the space. This one here is slated to reach and even overtake Ethereum in price. How much of that will be due to inflation, I don't really know. As you watch me, you'll probably notice that I'll be comparing a lot of these assets to other currencies, and the reason for that is because, well, the American dollar is collapsing, and there's not much point in evaluating what something is worth in comparison to a collapsing currency. And so we're using it right now because that's what a lot of people are using. But as you're watching, as you're tuning in, you'll notice I'll be comparing these to other assets fairly soon because they're more stable. They're going to be more predictable. Injective token, one of my favorite projects. This one here, standing for and advocating for interoperability between chains, recognizing that we can't be fighting about which one's best. Everybody has their best coin. Everybody should be finding their own best coin and then trading amongst others who have other coins without middlemen. And so this project here is innovating that whole scene so that we're not having to deal with all the exchanges and brokers and whatever else we need to conduct these trades. So yeah, this one had that similar to what we saw with Wu, how it broke out of that long-term trend line and it even used that same trend line as support, and is now the bulls are definitely showing a lot of promise. I think the next, like I marked here, I think the next thing we'll see is a little jump up, retest this consolidation zone or this pivot zone, and then make its push above this resistance here at 2470 before it uses it as support to get up to that $29 and even beyond that to this high here at 31. Long term though, I believe that we're going to see this extend to, my target on this one is $77. I'll probably evaluate at 75 whether or not I want to, whether or not that price point may provide a psychological level of resistance. So I'll test it. I'll evaluate it when it gets there. Long term. This one's a long term project. This one will be around for 5 years. Desync. Decentralized storage for computing and hosting. This one here is got a massive big pennant pattern here. So as we see the price action consolidate, it'll continue to get more and more narrow before it breaks out. And one way or the other, I believe that the breakout will be approximately 2,800 pips, which would, if it goes up, well, that sends us, yeah, up here into the 45 cent range. Is that right? Yeah, 44 cent. And right now, sitting at 17 cents, that would give you a pretty healthy, that's a healthy 160%. And that's just the start, folks. This particular asset here, if you're buying it under $1, I think it's on sale. Consider it a deal, because yeah, this one here, the only way that it wouldn't is if they just, something terrible happened. They didn't prepare themselves for the bubble that's going to pop. That can happen, but a lot of these companies, because they're in it for the long game, they know that bubble is going to happen, and they're waiting for it as well. And that's when, before that bubble pops, I'll be selling, and I'll be selling in good time so that I can take advantage of the dip that happens after that. Because it's just because it's going to bubble and pop, that doesn't mean that it's a dead project. This here, once it has that nice big pulse going upwards, the retracement that occurs is going to be another buying opportunity to play that long game. This is going to be a 5-year plan for me on this asset here, simply because of how much work is ahead of us especially after that bubble pops. Zero by Zero. If you have any questions, feel free to throw in a comment and queries. This is also something that you can interact with me live. If you want to do that, just leave a comment or send me a DM, and I'll be sure to send you the link so that you can tune in and converse with us live as we're checking out these charts. And then in our private community, after we're done this, I usually go for breakfast, and then I come back and socialize with the private community. And if you have any questions or if you'd like to make some trades, let me know. Be more than happy to help you out with that. So this is Zero by Zero, another private AI project, values the privacy of data. And I think that especially going into a world where we're going to be having digital IDs and people are going to be using AIs, it's going to be important that they have their data private. And so with this project here, we've been, I'm excited for this one, especially since we have, again, that same type of pattern happening where we have this long-term trend line. Where did it go? We have this long-term trend line here that just recently got broken out. Let's just get it lined up better. There we go. So this trend line here, well, it ended up being a channel there for a while. And but we broke out of that there mid-September or so. And since that time, forming this high, after that, it has been retesting this trend line. And now if it dips back in, closes within the trend line, and then uses this top line as resistance, we will probably see it come down even possibly as low as 6.5 cents or so. Don't be discouraged by that. This project here, they are in it for the long haul. And I believe that out of all of them, this one here might actually be the more solid project that may take, an extra couple of weeks to see the same type of growth that a lot of the other ones are. But once these guys come into utility phase and people are using the product, it's going to automatically raise its price. And my first target is that all-time high at 53 cents, 54 cents. I've got two positions right now, one that I took at the middle of June. That one there would be 146% growth. But because of the price coming down so far, I did add to my position almost here at the end of this, right before it broke out of the trend line. I added to my position on September 7th, and that one there has been doing a lot better. This position is a lot bigger. The one that I made here is a lot bigger of a position than the one that I made here. And so this 20% gain has actually got me broken even, because the amount that I've made since this trade has actually exceeded the amount that I lost on the first trade. Lost, I say, my drawdown it's the amount that I made here is greater than the drawdown that I'm experiencing on the first trade there. So yeah, I'm happy with this one so far, especially being able to add to my position at a lower price. That's what we're after. Buy low, sell high. 3 protocol. Here's the project that's looking to, they're already doing it, issuing Visa cards without know your customer protocols. So now you don't have to submit all your ID and personal information and all that good stuff. You don't have to do that in order to have a Visa card that you can swipe at a till. Now, for some reason, they're still not available in all nations, in all countries, but I'm interested to see how this works, because I think that as more and more people realize that this is possible, we're going to see more companies providing this type of service. Yeah, so this is a good one. This high here is very encouraging, coming back down, reaccumulating here at this low. This is the low. This is the low price here, folks. So this one here is set to go With the 3 protocol, I think that we're going to see it reach its all-time high from this point, where whatever it uses as support going to this all-time high. I think that price action would likely happen within a matter of a day or two. When it happens, I believe that will provide some resistance, at which point it'd be good to sell and then come back in when it dips down. And I think that first dip will probably be 40% or so. So that's a good place to go, because if you sell here, the amount that you sell, the value that you have here, you can increase the size of the bag by 40% so that you can experience that growth. You're compounding you're leveraging the compounding interest on that one. Link AI, another AI project that is coming online here in the next I think this one here is a little bit longer, maybe November. But this here is a nice, beautiful M pattern that is formed inside, like within the vicinity of this pivot zone. Is just gorgeous. So these highs, this high here, beating it out, this low, using this trend line as support. We can see that accumulation occurring, and likely we'll see this kind of a pattern here as we climb up these, up these different points. It's kind of tough to tell exactly where the resistance is between the $18 or 18 cents rather, and the high at 29. So I'm going to go ahead into the 15-minute chart just to see if we can get more details out of this and see if we can't deduce where where is the next point. And oh yeah, no, I'm just using the free version, so I can't go back that far. Let's go to the 30-minute chart. Yeah, there's not much in the line of points to find, but there are a couple here between where we are right now and 18 cents. Beyond that, yeah, there's not really a whole lot. There's one here at about 24 cents, 25 cents. That might be the psychological level. And there's another one here around 20 cents, but that's already so close to 18. It's hard to tell. On the daily chart, there's no real resistance that we're seeing between this point here at 19 cents and the all-time high at 29. So yeah, it's on sale. Definitely a good place to get this. It's just now bounced itself out of this pivot zone, showing support from the 13-cent level. And so between here and that all-time high, we've got 103%. So that'll be a nice little double. DEAI, or 01 Labs, formed its all-time high here, October 14th, has pulled back a little bit. I would expect this to actually pull back and test this zone a little bit harder. This is a pretty weak test. And so whenever I see a test this week, I'm like, yeah, do the bulls really have control? We don't know. So I like to see deeper retracements after all-time highs are formed, especially if they can come back and retest the levels where it was showing some resistance in the past. So like to see this drop down a little bit more. If it does, with 01 Labs, I will definitely be buying. But I want to see that retracement come deeper into this pivot zone before I go ahead and make the purchase. Right now it's sitting at 54 cents. 01 Labs, another great project, a little bit newer, but really strong, strong development team. And I believe that because of a lot of the work that's been done over the past 2 years now, I mean, think about it. AI, ChatGPT was released just under 2 years ago to the general user. That work that's been done since then has provided a good foundation for new projects to come online and not experience the same volatility that the newer projects had to go through, simply because they were still developing. A lot of that's been developed now. And so as we enter utility phase with AI, a lot of these projects are going to be the leaders in that, simply because they've got a strong foundation to set them up for that success. Now, keep in mind that any one of these companies could very well do the same thing that's happening throughout this entire space, and that is, wow, we built a business and it did amazing, and those 6 months were the best of our lives, and it's over, and they'll sell and call it a success. And so be mindful that can happen within this space. That's why we watch the charts every day. FAR. Let's go FAR with this one, shall we? FAR's all-time high is 21 cents. Now this particular coin is on the Polygon network, and it is primarily focusing on gaming. Well, the gaming industry is going to take over much of the economic force of this digital age, this age of AI, because the focus is on helping people see how the game of life works. And the correlative principles that are found within video gaming are they can provide a context with which we may teach people how to play the game of life more successfully as well. And FAR is one of the ecosystems that's developing on that. I've got other ones that I follow as well. I don't discuss them publicly simply because of the gravity of the situation, and I talk more about that in my private in the private sessions that we have. But FAR is a sleeper. You know, again, we talk about the development phase and then coming into utility phase. They've been developing, and they've been developing very well. Their community is strong. Again, great communications to timelines that people can expect releases. And we are, I'm excited for when this one wakes up. I think that we're going to see Bitcoin and Ethereum likely have a surge before this one does. But this is really encouraging to see this spike here coming up and retesting this 2 cent level. That was kind of my indicator that, oh yeah, this thing's waking up here soon. And I went ahead and I started purchasing on October 8th. And I actually have 2 positions in on this one, simply because, I'm really excited for it. And of course, there is the added benefit of having an asset that's under 1 cent, where the all-time high is 22 cents, because that's translating into a 2,400% growth on this position. That's also pretty nice. I like it when I can do something like 24x my money. That's FAR. Let's go on to TRX. TRX, I'm following this chart because it gives me a good barometer reading of the ecosystem. We can see this nice consistent rise. This is not something that's typical within the crypto sphere, and seeing Tron have this kind of consistency is very, very encouraging. And I expect this to continue, especially as we're coming into the full phase of this bubble. It's already pressing up against the all-time high here at 17 cents, and I think it's all-time high. Yeah, well, it's all-time that I can see anyway, going back to 2019. So yeah, this is great. Like, this retest here of this high point, this is really encouraging. When it breaks out above this, $1 is going to be easy. And so, that's another 5x. So if you would like to add to your bags on this one, this would be a good one. This retest here was kind of weak. Again, I do like to see retracements come back and test areas that used to be resistance. And so the resistance is more so towards the middle of this band, of this pivot zone. So I would not be surprised if we have another retest. If that happens, if it comes back and it retests this 14 cent area, like 14.1, 14 is the bottom of it. The closer it gets to 14, the happier I will be to purchase. But I'd like to see that retracement be a little bit deeper before I say, yeah, we've got the support we need to go. Solana. Lots of memes on this particular network, and yeah, this one here has been actually consolidating quite a bit since March of this year, not being able to rise above that. Now the lows aren't really that significant either. In fact, this high here that was formed on December 25th of last year has provided substantial support since that time. And so, well, since it broke out there at the beginning of March. And so now this is very encouraging to see. I think that we've had enough testing of this zone. There's been tons of opportunity here. And I think that that support is there for it to go back to its all-time high at $261 and then onwards beyond that. But yeah, I would need to see a nice strong test of this line at 184, 185 first before I expect that all-time high to be reached. So right now, good time to get a quick and grab a quick little profit here. This would be a 80% increase from where we are right now up to the all-time high. And so yeah, that'd be a good one. If it retests, great. I might even grab it, because then from that retest point is actually doubling my money. Yeah, we'll see. I'm pretty leveraged as it is. So XRP just had its fun down here at the bottom end of this channel. Be mindful that now it's actually entering something that has had provided a lot of support in the past. And so the resistance may get it to push down and do something similar to what we saw here in July, where the price deviated out of that and then slingshot back into that channel. So if I see a big movement coming down, dipping down below this this trend line, I'll definitely be grabbing some of that, because it'll come back and retest the top of this channel later on. And it's a conservative trade at the 47%. But I mean, if I wanted to do that in Forex, I'd have to be a maniac and lose a lot too in the process. So now on to Polygon. Polygon is hovering down here at all-time lows. I think these are all-time lows. Oh, no, not quite. But fairly low. And accumulating volume here as we're coming into utility phase. Gaming season is coming into play here. We've got Christmas coming up. And so we can't expect this to go parabolic. Especially since we have sufficiently worked our way out of this descending wedge that was gaining a lot of energy. When it broke out of here, that's when I was like, oh yeah, she's gonna fly out pretty soon. Did a retest at the 36-cent level, and you know, nice movement, strong, clean, I should say. It's a clean movement, testing this 43-cent marker, and then now hanging out again, 36 cents. It's ready to go to its all-time high. This is going to probably be a springtime, like from between here and spring. That's what I expect this price action to happen. Might happen faster, but between here and the all-time high is a 679% increase, which would be quite all right with me. Yeah, I don't have as much in Polygon right now. I'm not holding a whole lot. I think it's probably under $100 or something. But I like watching it because a lot of gaming coins are being developed on the backbone of Polygon. And so as we see the Bitcoins and the Ethereums take off, we're going to see this also give rise as well. And when that happens, it's going to leverage into projects like FAR that are built off of Polygon. Moving on to ADA, it's been quite a ride here over the last few weeks, as we've seen this consolidation zone here showing, you know, some support and showing some support and resistance back and forth is a good sign of accumulation. So when this is happening, it means that more and more people are saying, oh yeah, I'll take some at this point. I'll take some at this point. And so the more that happens, you can see that these lows where these tests occur, that they are actually getting higher. This one here dipped down a little bit further to retest the 30-cent level, but it didn't even make it there. It didn't even make it to the trend line. And so we see now this push here is very indicative of a breakout occurring, and so we're at a low point here in Cardano. I'm trading this all the time simply because this is where I hold my where this is the denomination that I use within my private foreign trust, and so I'm constantly moving money back and forth, watching this one a lot. Right now is definitely a good time to buy. If it bumps up against this this point here, I'll probably pay myself out of my trust a little bit of money, because then I maximize the amount that's in there. This is how I figure out what payday is. Payday is right here, and right here, right here, all of the points wherever it's high. And then whenever it goes down, that's when I add more to my trust. Oh, let's put it in there. Let's put it in there. And so I can't even keep count of how many times, these little tiny movements, from down here to up here, that's 15%. Just that little bit of price action is 15%. Well, if you do that consistently, eventually what happens is you start accumulating more of the product, more of the asset every time it dips. Because here, look at this dip, 34%. So when I pay myself here, that's great. I got a bunch of money. But then when I come into here, I'm not going to pay myself. No, I'm going to start investing in myself, right? Figuratively speaking. Because, if I'm put $500 in, here it's going to only, it's 44 cents. Whereas if I take that 500 and I put it down here at 28 cents, then when it goes up again and retests this trend line up 43%, I'll pay myself. See how that works? So this is the asset that I use very, very frequently. And so I'm watching it even more so than the other ones. And in fact, on my desktop, I have a widget that stays there constantly, and it just gives me the ticker. It gives me this ticker price in Canadian dollars. So I can be like, yeah, good time to pay me. Nope, good time to buy. And this one here is likely to be the anchor point that I'll be comparing a lot of these assets, because this to me is going to hold more validity and more stability going into this global currency reset than anything that I would trust being brought out and issued by our mortal enemy, the banksters. So,
how do you get
yeah.
that widget on your desktop?
That is, well, I use Apple on this particular work machine, and so it's an Apple widget. I know that Linux and Windows has widgets as well. I'm just not familiar with how to configure them.
Maybe I'll get Corey to help you with that.
Yeah, Corey would be the best one to know where to find those. Once you find the one that you like, let me know. I'll be happy to help you configure it to different assets. I have gold, silver, ADA, and what's the other one that I have? Oh, that's it. Yeah, gold, silver, and ADA are the ones that I have constantly on my computer all the time, just a glance away. Ethereum. Yeah, this one people talk about this one and how this one is breaking out. And it's like, no, guys, it's not. And even this breakout here that we had where it broke out of this yellow trend line, because this was at the time when I drew this, it was a steep line and then it broke out. Well, that's great, but it hasn't really broken out because there's this red trend line. I keep talking about this one. Maybe I need to be not so repetitive with these, but I don't always know if people have caught on yet. So Ethereum is showing resistance right now within this. I know people that they've been just bouncing back and forth. Whenever this line gets touched, they switch positions. And during that time, they go up because, again, they're accumulating more. When they sell, they just accumulate more of the asset when they buy, right? And so let's just get kind of a, let's say they sell here because this is after it bounced off, and then they buy here. Well, they're increasing the size of their bag by 17%. And then they're in that position and they go ahead and they sit on that until it comes back up. Well, then they just added another 17% to their balance. Then they sell and then they wait until it bounces back down. Now they're adding another 11% to their bag, and then they ride that to the top. Now they're adding another 11% to the balance. So between these points here, if you wanted to trade, this would be a good time. So if you have Ethereum, sometimes I do this where I've got a couple apps, like for instance ShakePay, where I can have Bitcoin and Ethereum in the palm of my hand, and I can switch it back and forth into Canadian for when I need to go and pay for coffee or whatever. So what I'll do is that I'll watch. Right now, I don't think I have any Ethereum in there right now, but if I have Ethereum, I'd be selling it for Canadian dollars right now. That way, when it comes back down, I can just switch it back into Ethereum right there in my app. So that strategy there, this here is very, very powerful. So even though it's not moving, really, it's a very, very much a bouncing product right now. The price action is just going sideways, as they call it. You can still make money. You just got to be mindful of how these charts go, draw some lines, and follow the patterns. I believe that when this breaks out, yes, we're going to be retesting this trend line here. And once we hit that trend line and test that, I believe it'll retest this zone at 2,500 before it takes off. I could be wrong, but that to me just makes sense that would occur. And if it breaks out going down, I would not be surprised if it tests the 2,100 level. I say that, I've said that in the past year, this last week, and someone said that I was a doomsdayist. And I'm like, what are you talking about? It was just there. It was just there on September 6th. It's not doomsday. Oh no, it's going up. No, the chart says no, it's not going up yet. It might, but the market is always right. And it doesn't say it's going up yet. So that's Ethereum. Going on to Bitcoin last. Look at that. It's at the top of the range. You might want to sell because I think we're going to be headed back down and retesting this point here. Why? Because this high didn't beat out this high. I think that this needs to be retested, even as far down as 51. Now, that being said, if we take a look at the macro movements that have been occurring, so let's go to the weekly chart, just so we can see more of a macro movement. We do have a situation on our hands. This all-time high right here at 74, almost 75,000. Let's zoom in a little bit more here. What is that? Yeah, 73.7. So almost $74,000 is the high. This here has a pretty good retest of this level here. That has provided resistance in the past. If we go back to August 2021. So at the macro level, it is not outside of the possibility that we are ready to break out. However, for me to know that we are headed towards that all-time high, I would need to see a solid breakout of this channel where it breaks out, closes for at least a couple of days, and possibly even retests that trend line. That would be the indication that, okay, now we're headed up. And when it does that, I don't think that it will take long. I think it would probably only take a week or two from that breakout. I think it would only take a week, possibly 2 weeks for this to go to 100,000. And I believe that that will happen likely within the next 3 to 5 months. Again, it's just where we're at in the timing of things. A lot of liquidity has got to be taken out of the system because the old one's collapsing, and that would give people that desire to get in, and then of course they'll drop the price probably back down to these levels here where we're at now, in order to take that liquidity out of people's pockets, because the last thing they want is for you to have a good Christmas. ADA against Ethereum. This is a foretaste of the things to come as we're analyzing cryptos against each other. And I'm starting off with Cardano and Ethereum simply because of their competitiveness, really, is what it boils down to. Cardano is not so much competitive with Ethereum, but Ethereum is definitely competitive with Cardano based on how they talk. And what we have here is a nice big dip and breakout, really, when it comes right down to it. This upward trend line is actually now has a breakout. And so, yes, I do believe that Cardano will likely drop in value in comparison to Ethereum. And this may even continue. I think we'll probably see a retest of this area simply because that area has provided resistance in the past. And that retest, after that, probably come down into this area here. But again, that's against Ethereum. So very different mindset to be looking at this chart with. I'm not going to go further into that. We've already gone in 55 minutes here, and I started a little bit late. So thank you to everybody tuning in. And if you have any questions, again, feel free to comment. If you want to join our private group where we go deeper into detail on these assets, and I talk about what positions I'm actually taking, and I even record when I'm taking them and share that experience. So if you're interested, let me know. I'd be more than happy to have a sit down with you. We can meet online and talk about where you're at and where you want to go, what your goals are, and yeah, love to have you. Thanks again for tuning in. That is market analysis for October 18th, 2024. Everybody have a good day. Where is my mouse? There it is.